This is going to be a part 3 to my Why You Should Never Hire a Mangina series. And in the previous video, I outlined the primary reasons why you should never hire a Mangina, which are he gives female coworkers a pass and he avoids conflict. And in the second video, I talked about the numerous social ways your Mangina pretty much disrupts your work environment and impedes your productivity. In this third video, I'm going to discuss the ways this mangina pretty much destabilizes your work environment and decreases your worker morale. You see, your mangina, while he may avoid conflict, he has no problem creating conflict among your coworkers. And he does this in a very, very passive aggressive way. Your mangina, by nature, is a very passive aggressive person. His social interactions with people are oftentimes very passive aggressive. He'll be passively social to people, where he's not really effectively communicating with people, but he'll often aggressively communicate through rumors starting, being catty, and backbiting. But the rumor starting can really, really disrupt your work environment because your mangina is a notorious gossip. Um, He's the guy who will start telling rumors that, oh, the boss likes this employee better than this employee, and that can really frustrate, especially your, better, more productive coworkers who are really putting in the job, because he'll say that some low-level worker or poor performing worker is favored by the boss, when this may not be the case at all. If you're ever a supervisor or a business owner, you really have to squash rumors immediately because this guy will start these rumors to destabilize the environment and to sabotage your worker morale. Because if your employees really start feeling bad because they feel underappreciated and undervalued, this could lead to people being turning over and your organization losing a lot of top talent. And a lot of talent, winds up getting lost because these guys start rumors that make people feel underappreciated and undervalued. And they start, instead of them going directly to the supervisor to, find out the truth, they just wind up looking for another job elsewhere. And that's all because of this guy's destabilizing rumors. And his rumors will destabilize your work environment if they are not nipped in the bud. Um, Another thing your mangina does to sabotage, your coworkers is he often, does a lot of, um, in addition to the rumor startings, he likes to do a lot of jabbing and backbiting people. He's the kind of guy he will try to insult people, try to start, some back and forths, and try to start a lot of drama in the workplace. And again, a good boss really has to nip that in the bud because if you have workers who aren't working together, they're working against your business. And if they're working against your business, then your business is not going to be able to compete. You're not going to be able to get your work done. And that's all because of this guy, destabilizing your work environment. Um, Another thing that this guy likes to do is he will sabotage your projects. If there's a coworker he does not like, what this guy is going to do if he has to work with that coworker is he's going to lose documents. He's going to forget attending a meeting, and he's going to not get stuff, done on time. And I mean, you may have a deadline for a project. This guy is going to deliberately find ways to keep the other coworker from missing the deadline. And then when you don't meet the deadline, what he's going to do is he's going to point fingers at the other guy and try to get you to believe that it was his fault when it was all the mangina's fault. And the mangina, he's always putting, his personal issues above the needs of the business because by nature your mangina is a very short-sighted guy. And he'll sit there and he'll think about, ways of eliminating people, especially men he feels that are direct competition to him. He'll find ways to try to sabotage those guys, not understanding that, business is not personal. Business is about helping the organization meet its overall goals so that everybody can profit. But your mangina wants to be the only one who profits. Again, he wants to be the one on top. He wants to be the one seen as great because these guys have a high self-inflated ego and they believe that they're better than everybody else and they're superior to everyone else. But oftentimes, these guys are pretty much mediocre workers because one, they avoid conflict, and two, they can't solve problems. And you need to be able to do those two basic things if you hope to achieve anything in business because every day there's going to be conflict and every day there are going to be problems and you need employees who can help you solve the problems if you hope help the organization to grow. um, Another issue with your mangina in the workplace is he oftentimes thinks he knows everything and he'll walk around like he's some sort of guru with a lot of knowledge. And what he'll do is he'll try to, side up to a new employee or a new coworker, and he'll try to offer them help. Oftentimes, if you're not smart and you don't understand corporate culture, you'll fall for it and thinking that this guy wants to help me get ahead. When in actuality, this is a way that he creates starts creating covert contracts with people, and he uses that as a gateway to, create one his covert contracts and two to sabotage the coworker by giving them advice that will not help him in the long run because usually if you don't have critical thinking skills you won't sit there and ask yourself why is this guy out of nowhere ask trying to offer me um, help. And oftentimes this guy knows less than anyone. I mean, there are people who will help you in the workplace, but your mangina is not one of them. Usually, this guy will be from a totally different department or a totally different position, and he'll offer to help you with things that he knows absolutely nothing about. Another thing you have to watch out for with your mangina is he likes to pass off work on others. Again, that goes back to the tenet of, your mangina loves power, but he does not like responsibility. So your mangina is notorious for, trying to pass his work off on to somebody else to do. And this guy, he'll get an assignment for a project, and instead of him taking the project, he'll pass it off to a lower level worker like a clerical or an assistant, and he'll make them responsible for completing the task, and then, he'll go on and sit in his office and hide. And when the work isn't done right, he then blames the coworker. And if you're not a good boss, you won't check that at the door and say, look, I gave you that assignment. That assignment was your responsibility, but it was not hers. So they think that, again, they like to call themselves pseudo delegating. And again, this is part of that codependent stuff that he tries to do. Um, he doesn't really want, again, he does not like responsibility. So he tries to find people to pass things off on um, that are supposed to be his responsibility. And he likes to pass it off. And then when things go wrong, he'll have them taking the blame while he's sitting in the back, not being and collecting a paycheck while this person is either being written up or terminated for something that they had absolutely no responsibility for. Um, you have to really watch out for this guy because, again, his behaviors really destabilize your work environment. The longer this guy sits around, the longer the worker morale starts to go down. Because people become frustrated with dealing with him, and people wind up fighting each other because of his rumor starting, his backbiting, and his passive aggressiveness. A lot of the things that he does are really under the table, and they can really slow down your worker productivity because um, if he's losing reports and forgetting documents, that can cost you contracts, that can prevent you from launching products on time, and that can really prevent your business from growing. I mean, he'll have your business working against itself, and he'll have your employees working against themselves. I mean, he is a complete saboteur of a business's operations. Whenever he's involved, nothing gets done because instead of people working together, they're working against themselves, and that's not the way an organization works effectively. An effective organization, everyone works together and everybody communicates. I mean, yes, you may have a breakdown here or there, but with this guy, you know, and his rumors and his backbiting and his infighting, you can't accomplish anything because if again, no one is on. Everybody is against each other. Everybody is against the organization. Customers are getting alienated, and this guy will be, while all this is going on, will be sitting in the back, acting like he's a good little angel and a perfect employee, and no one is the wiser. And unless I'd start identifying these traits, you won't see him as the core problem. I mean, you'll be reacting to the other coworkers' frustrations and anger, but you won't see that he's the problem and he's the one, behind everything. He'll while everything is going on, while this is chaos is going on, he'll be the one then trying to, slip his infiltrate into your parts, talking about more of his help and more of his solutions, and his help will impede, the organization even further. This guy is very sneaky. He's very insidious, and you have to be on the lookout for him. Um, when he's around because all the stuff that he does, can disrupt your social environment, prevent your organization from moving forward, and prevent your people from being the best they can be. Um, all the things that he does, are downright destructive, and you have to be careful when in dealing with this guy. If you have him in your workplace, the best thing to do is to terminate him. And if you see him at an interview and you start identifying his traits, the best thing to do is to just not hire this guy because the day you bring him into your workplace is the day you start heading down the road to putting your business straight out of business. That's all I have to say for this video. If you'd like to learn more about manginas, pick up my ebook, Manginas. They look like men, but they act like ladies. This ebook is available on Kindle, and Smashwords, and it will help you identify these guys in your personal life and your business life, and help you, find constructive ways of dealing with them in both situations. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.